So let me ask you something. Are you living a life that's, well, dictated by an outdated promise?
Mhm.
We're taught, from the get-go school, our first jobs, that success means you have to work hard now and get your rewards later.
Right. Or that work just,
Yeah,
it isn't meant to be fun.
exactly. That's the one.
It's really the operating system of the industrial age, isn't it? It's a script that was written more than a century ago.
Yeah.
It taught us all about the virtue of sacrifice, of
Mhm.
delayed gratification.
All based on this assumption that one day, maybe decades from now, we'd finally get our payoff.
We'd get the gold watch and retire.
Right. But what if that whole idea, that deeply embedded belief system that was designed for a world of factories and, filing cabinets, what if that is the single biggest thing holding you back?
Holding you back from real success, real freedom.
And yes, even genuine joy in what you do for a living right now.
That is the ultimate challenge, I think, for any modern professional. If you feel like you're struggling, you have to ask, is it because you're still running, let's say, 19th century software in a 21st century world?
And the answer is almost certainly yes.
Almost certainly, yeah.
So today we are doing a deep dive into the blueprint for escaping that industrial age mindset. We're going to learn exactly how to thrive in what's being called the entrepreneur revolution.
It's a huge shift.
A huge shift. We're going to explore why waiting for retirement is basically an act of self-sabotage, how you can quiet that scarcity-driven part of your brain.
The loud part.
The very loud part, yes. And how to build a business ecosystem that actually thrives on value, not just sheer volume.
And this transition, it requires a complete psychological overhaul. It forces you to re-examine, everything. From your wealth goals, which you might think are noble, to the hidden psychological drivers behind your daily decisions.
Our entire exploration today is grounded in Daniel Priestley's fantastic book, Entrepreneur Revolution: How to Develop Your Entrepreneurial Mindset and Start a Business That Works.
And we're specifically looking at his updated 2024 edition.
Right, which is crucial because it confronts the massive, immediate impact of new tech like generative AI.
And Priestley is the perfect person to talk about this because he doesn't just theorize about this transition. He lives it. His success isn't some academic theory, it's a model.
That is such a crucial point. His own journey is basically a living roadmap for this whole revolution. He dropped out of university really early at 19, and not because he disliked learning, but because he had this realization that his lecturers were, mostly struggling financially.
And we're teaching him how to get a boring, safe 19th century job.
Exactly. So he took a totally different path. Instead of staying in academia, he apprenticed with a successful entrepreneur for almost 2 years.
And this wasn't some, formal internship where you're getting coffee. This was hands-on learning, sales, direct marketing, how to manage rapid growth, things you just can't learn in a lecture hall.
He understood that mentorship, not a curriculum, was the key to speed.
And it paid off.
Fast.
Oh, immediately. He launched his first company at just 21. It was a super niche event marketing business, and by the time he was 25, it was generating millions in sales.
Oh.
And his later ventures, like Dent Global, Rethink Press, he even acquired and sold the early social network Academy.com.
And now he's co-founding software businesses, Score App, bookmagic.ai.
It just shows this relentless pattern of leveraging new tech to build these global, high-performing small businesses.
He really is the embodiment of this new lifestyle. He has massive freedom. He travels the world, earns money from businesses that don't need him in an office. The profit margins are just, there's something traditional businesses can only dream of.
And the key takeaway from his story is simple. He isn't waiting for retirement. He built his working life to be a dream now. And his core message is that his success isn't because of some, inaccessible genius or some unique skill he was born with.
No.
It's because he maintains a 21st century mindset in a world that is still desperately trying to push the tired, old industrial one on us.
Okay, before we dive deeper into the tactics and the brain science behind this whole revolution, just a quick word for you. If you are captivated by deep dives like this one, the kind that give you the crucial insights and actionable strategies from the world's best books without you having to read hundreds of pages,
Well, we invite you to subscribe to the Audiobooks channel.
it's the best way to stay ahead of the curve.
Absolutely. Don't miss out. You get the knowledge you need exactly when you need it.
So let's transition now to the core idea that really sets the stage here. We are living through revolutionary times. I know that sounds dramatic, but the old rules for commercial success have just been radically changed.
The barriers to entry have been
Annihilated.
Yeah.
Completely. And I know that sounds like hyperbole, but Priestley gives us some really great historical context for why we should take this scale of change seriously.
He does. We tend to forget that huge technological shifts,
Hmm.
they always have this lag time, right?
Mm.
Maybe 20 to 30 years before they really create systemic, society-wide change.
Right. The tech gets invented, but then it takes a whole generation for the infrastructure, social norms, consumer habits, for all of that to catch up.
Exactly. Think about the telephone. Invented in the late 1800s, but it didn't really take off until the 1920s. That's when it finally made it feasible for large companies to have multiple local branches.
And commercial air travel. Born in the 20s, but not popular until after World War II in the 1950s, that created the modern international corporation.
Television, same story. A 1930s invention that became a 1950s phenomenon, and that created mass market branding as we know it.
Even the internet follows this pattern. Tim Berners-Lee invents the World Wide Web in '89, but it took until the mid-2000s for commerce to really, truly shift online.
The difference today, though, and this is the critical point, is the speed and the convergence.
The lag time is collapsing.
It's collapsing.
Yeah.
Around 2007, we get the smartphone, a supercomputer in every single pocket. 2008, cloud computing basically births the virtual business.
Then social media, then large language models, decentralized finance, machine learning.
It's a convergence.
Yeah.
All these technologies are integrating and reshaping the world so much faster than any previous generation has ever experienced.
And this convergence is systematically stripping the big corporations of their most cherished advantage.
Which was their ability to manage complexity at scale.
Exactly. The speed of disruption, especially with generative AI hitting the mainstream in 2023, it's accelerating this change to a point of no return for the old models.
The stage is set. Technology has just demolished the traditional barriers, the need for massive capital, for centralized offices, for decades of brand reputation.
All those advantages, they're now accessible to much smaller, faster, and way more creative teams.
It's a whole new ballgame.
So if the industrial age was defined by, say, factory workers, and that includes both blue-collar workers on an assembly line and white-collar workers processing data.
Both doing repetitive, functional labor.
Right. Then how do we define this new era?
Well, the entrepreneur revolution is defined by entrepreneurial work. We are shifting from a society that was dominated by the cog, the component part that slots into a big machine, to one that's dominated by the node, the highly connected, innovative individual.
So the very nature of work changes completely.
Completely. In this new era, people work in smaller, more dynamic project-based teams. They collaborate seamlessly with AI and automation. Their work honestly looks more like focus play than a grind.
And crucially, they're not just relying on a monthly salary from one giant company.
No, they're earning money based on performance, on metrics, or by holding part ownership of the company and its intellectual property.
And technology has just empowered the small business to have this massive global impact. A tiny team of, say, 3 people can find clients all over the world.
They can access incredible developers in places like Uzbekistan or India. They can have a 247 customer service function that's either automated or outsourced to the Philippines.
And they do it all without the crippling overhead of offices or factories. The old need for massive, centralized infrastructure is just gone.
It's been replaced by cloud subscriptions and virtual talent pools.
Which brings us to this new category of business that Priestley calls the global small business, the GSB.
The GSB is the economic engine of this revolution, and Priestley defines them very precisely.
What's the definition?
They have less than 50 staff, they're completely unlimited by geography, and critically, they can easily make millions in sales.
So these are not your corner shop that just happens to have a website.
Not at all. And they succeed not by trying to compete with the giants on volume, but by extreme focus and providing specialized value.
Okay, so they're hyper-focused.
Exactly. GSBs thrive because they are built around a focused micro niche. They don't just sell marketing services. They sell, for example, B2B lead generation systems exclusively for high-end boutique wine distributors in the Pacific Northwest.
Wow, that is specific.
It is. That hyper-focus lets them completely dominate their small world. And on top of that, they possess valuable intellectual property, their IP.
So their unique methodology or their specific problem-solving framework.
Yes, and they've developed these incredibly sophisticated brands that make them look, at least to the customer, much bigger and more established than they actually are.
And it's fascinating to see how they leverage AI in this 2024 context. A big corporation might use AI to, I don't know, optimize some internal logistics.
Sure.
A GSB uses generative AI to instantly create global marketing campaigns localized for a dozen countries, or analyze niche customer data in real time. They move at warp speed compared to the corporate giant that's bogged down by internal approvals.
And this creates a lifestyle that's just so enviable. It's attracting top-tier professionals. Lawyers, accountants, consultants are leaving traditional corporate jobs in droves.
For the flexibility and the passion that a GSB can offer.
Exactly. And because these businesses are virtual and global, team members can literally live in low-tax, high-lifestyle countries. They leverage talent pools in places like India or Eastern Europe, and they can generate these huge seven-figure profits well, with comparative ease.
So their limits are intellectual, not physical or capital-based.
It's the size of their niche and the team's creativity. That's it.
Okay, so this shift sounds almost like a utopia. But to get there, we have to deal with that industrial mindset that's still running our internal operating system.
Mm.
We have to be willing to sort of metaphorically delete the old files that dictate how we see work and success.
But we have to remember why those files are there.
Yeah.
The Industrial Revolution needed workers for repetitive, interchangeable tasks. COGS. And our systems. Education, banking, government. They were all designed to reinforce that repetitive, predictable way of living. But the entrepreneurial revolution, it demands passionate, free-thinking, inspired innovators. You have to actively fight the old programming.
So let's dismantle some of these damaging old ideas, starting with the biggest institutional lie, the one that causes the most misery. Old idea number one: work hard now, rewards later.
Ugh. The jam tomorrow game.
The jam tomorrow game.
This idea is so deeply rooted. The concept that you have to make sacrifices now for some far-off reward. It's not just an economic idea. It's been moralized by institutions, by religion.
And the problem is, it paralyzes people. They get stuck doing something they profoundly dislike, maybe even hate, because they think someday it'll pay off.
They're projecting all their power and agency into this distant, uncertain future, into retirement.
And the dull path just gets worse the longer you're on it. If your work is boring and repetitive, it is trending towards zero value. It's going to be automated by AI or outsourced to someone cheaper.
So your hard work in a dull field isn't going to bring a massive payoff. It's just going to bring more pain, more frustration, and eventually replacement.
So what's the new idea that replaces this?
The new idea is essential for survival. There is no payday. There's just life. The goal is to structure your work and your business so that the very idea of retiring becomes undesirable. A great life isn't made of one big payoff at the end. It's made up of great days right now.
The rewards, the joy, the meaning, the connection, they have to be embedded in the present moment, and they have to compound daily.
Exactly.
Okay, so if we accept that we need to enjoy the process, let's look at the next damaging idea, which is about our core skill set in this age of collaboration. Old idea number 3. Work hard to prove how smart you are.
Ah, yes. The school system taught us that copying, collaborating, or asking for help was cheating.
Right.
But that mindset is just a fundamental misunderstanding of how value is created in a networked world. The school system's goal was to create those rigid, uniform cogs for the machine. They value the possession of stored information.
But today, storing information is obsolete. My phone can store more than I ever could.
Exactly. Those cogs are easily and instantly replaced by an LLM or by automation.
So if possessing all the answers isn't the goal, what is?
The new idea is that smart people surround themselves with smarter people. The true value of an entrepreneur isn't having every answer in their head. It's having fast, accurate access to every answer.
And the ability to attract and coordinate the most brilliant team around them.
Precisely. You stop being a rigid cog and you become a powerful node.
A node in a network.
Exactly. And a node becomes exponentially more valuable the more connected it is, the more energy and information it can process and pass on to that network.
So we reward the person who can find answers quickly and synthesize them, the collaborator.
Not the person who tried to do all the homework themselves in isolation. It means abandoning that intellectual vanity and just embracing collaboration.
So to thrive in this revolution, you have to flesh out these old industrial ideas and adopt a dynamic, connected mindset that's focused on creating value in the present.
That's the foundation.
Okay, thinking differently is one thing, but it requires some serious internal alignment to move from that industrial mindset to the, what did she call it? The visionary entrepreneur mindset.
Hmm.
We have to understand our own internal wiring. We have to know which part of our brain is driving our decisions at any given moment.
And Priestley breaks this down beautifully. He talks about three distinct parts of the entrepreneur brain, and he notes that the lower, more primitive parts are basically designed to keep us from accessing that highest empire-building mind.
Let's start at the bottom then with the one causing the most anxiety, the reptile brain.
The reptile brain is pure survival. It sees the world as a dangerous, zero-sum game of scarcity. It's all emotion. It wants immediate gratification, food, sex, revenge, safety. It has zero capacity for long-term strategic thinking or empathy.
So if you're operating from there, you're just fighting over scraps.
You're living like a reptile, fighting viciously over small, immediate resources. And it's the part of the brain that's so easily fooled by our modern world.
The instant dopamine hit of a social media notification.
The emotional rush of gambling, the empty promise of get-rich-quick schemes. The reptile doesn't see the long-term cost. It just wants that immediate, tangible benefit for its survival.
So if you're constantly checking your phone for bad news, you're just feeding the reptile.
You're keeping it riled up, pushing you towards aggression, risk aversion, and really self-destructive choices.
Okay, so above the reptile, there's the autopilot brain, the functional worker.
Right. This brain operates life on repeat. It performs repetitive, functional tasks that are often totally devoid of passion or meaning. It just craves predictability.
And this is the part that fantasizes about passive income.
Yes. The magical system where money just arrives automatically so the autopilot can finally relax and stop thinking. It believes only in the resources and pathways it's been told it can access.
So if you feel perpetually stuck, just putting one foot in front of the other without any real inspiration, you're in autopilot mode.
You're stuck. It equates effort with results, not value creation with results.
Which brings us to the third highest level, the visionary entrepreneur brain, the empire builder.
This is the sophisticated part of our brain. It sees meaningful problems to solve. It has empathy. It uses logic for long-term strategy. And it has the higher consciousness to actually love the world and want to improve it. It's expansive. It's focused on creation.
The trick, as Priestley says, is that the lower parts of the mind can easily shut down the higher parts.
They can. Overstimulation of the reptile brain through fear, through unnecessary emotional drama, it short-circuits the visionary brain.
So how do we consistently access that higher mind?
Well, the advice aligns really deeply with a lot of spiritual and high-performance teachings.
Yeah.
To access the visionary brain, you have to actively avoid the things that trigger scarcity-based responses.
So intentional digital detoxes.
Minimizing exposure to conflict-driven media. And you have to remove meaningless repetitive tasks from your day through aggressive automation or delegation.
And crucially, practice gratitude.
Absolutely. You need to practice conscious gratitude for where you are, right now, in this moment. The reptile thrives on future fear. Gratitude locks you into present safety.
And when you awaken that entrepreneur brain, you immediately start seeing these massive opportunities that the scarcity-driven reptile was completely blind to.
It changes your entire metric for what's possible.
Which leads us to one of the most provocative mindset challenges in the whole book. It directly attacks our cultural ideas about wealth. He calls it the greed of playing small.
It's a powerful reframe. He asks you to choose an amount of money that would satisfy all your personal wants and needs, provided it wasn't greedy or selfish.
Right. And then he says, if you chose less than $1 billion as enough, you might actually be too greedy and selfish to be fully functional in the entrepreneur revolution.
It's designed to shock you out of that small-minded thinking.
Why? Why is thinking of, say, $10 million selfish?
Because thinking only of your personal wants, the nice car, the comfortable house, the annual vacation, a small local donation, that is inherently selfish. $10 million buys a comfortable life for you.
But it barely lets you impact your community, let alone found a major institution or save a rainforest.
Exactly. The true entrepreneurial mindset, the kind you see in people who operate at a global scale, aims for the maximum amount of money derived from adding massive systemic value to others.
Because that wealth is the energy required for large-scale impact. They're interested in vision and adventure, not just the stuff.
This is in sharp contrast to the poor mindset, which links money directly and only to hard, painful labor and scarcity. The person with that mindset is easily bought for small amounts.
For an extra $10,000 a year, they'll give up the best part of their week for a job they hate.
Because they fundamentally believe money is scarce and limited.
So the rich mindset, which you have to consciously adopt, sees money differently.
It sees money as energy flowing from value delivered. And they know that value is not strictly linked to their personal, functional hard work. They're indifferent to this stuff. They see money for what it is, a human invention, like a database that tracks value exchange.
They hate being asked what they do for a living.
Because they're presiding over their little empire in service of a vision, not just performing functional labor to survive. If you're easily bought, your autopilot will keep you stuck. But if you're focused on vision and impact, you're ready to build an empire that actually matters.
Thinking differently is the first step, but to really awaken the entrepreneur mind, you have to start doing things differently, especially things that scare that reptile brain.
Right. And Priestley provides a set of these high-impact challenges that are designed specifically to push you out of that industrial comfort zone and force your brain to create new neural pathways.
They're about being resourceful, demanding you move beyond the autopilot's need for the familiar.
They create instant tension, which forces the visionary brain to kick in and solve problems creatively.
Okay, let's start with the cure for analysis paralysis. Challenge number 1, make 3 calls.
This challenge is about beginning something bold, a new product, a big event, without knowing the exact outcome, without a complete plan. Because clarity comes at the end, through action, not at the beginning, through over-planning.
And Priestley's own story here is the perfect example. He decided he wanted to launch an under-18s dance party. His first call was to a massive warehouse. They rejected him, but they helpfully suggested a local nightclub.
So he called the top nightclub in town.
He did. And he claimed to be from a promotions company he hadn't even fully established yet. The club immediately asked him to send over a proposal.
And he had no idea what a proposal was.
None. He had to hang up and call his father to ask what it was. But he got the meeting, and later he got the deal. All because he took immediate, imperfect action.
The lesson is so profound. You have to take that first nerve-wracking step before you had the detailed plan, the resources, the contacts. They only show up when you're already moving.
The true entrepreneur is comfortable with that uncertainty. The cog is paralyzed by it.
That's it.
Okay, challenge number 2 gets right at the root of the reptile's fear. Get your reptile brain a bank account.
The reptile brain is fundamentally risk-averse. It sees everything new as a threat to survival. The only way to silence it is to remove that fear of scarcity, of starvation.
So this challenge tells you to set aside 10% of all your earnings into a wealth account that you do not touch.
And the crucial step is to move that money into boring, stable investments, like a simple share portfolio fund, once it hits about 3 months of your living costs.
So you're basically telling that primitive part of your mind, look, we are safe, we have guaranteed cash to fall back on, so the risks we take in the business are calculated. They're not going to lead to existential failure.
And Priestley says he never missed that 10%, even when he was traveling and living well. The emotional calm that reserve provides, it allows for infinitely better entrepreneurial choices.
Okay, the next challenge is simple, but really powerful for recalibrating your mental framework around money. Challenge 4, carry cash.
The instruction is to carry $1,000 or whatever amount you'd love to earn in a single day on you at all times.
And this isn't about spending it.
No, it's about forcing your brain to reorient what it considers a lot of money.
The neurological impact is the key here.
It is. The story is that his mentor made him carry $2,000. At first, he was terrified of losing it, which just proves how tightly his scarcity brain was gripping the idea of money.
But then one day, he's walking past a high-end store, he sees an expensive Omega watch and suddenly realizes, wait, I can afford that right now.
And that realization shifts his focus and moves from an emotional feeling of inability to buy expensive things to a conscious, empowered choice to defer the purchase until he'd earned it through massive value creation.
The emotional charge on money just decreases when you know you have access to it.
It really does.
And finally, a challenge about prioritizing life over work. Challenge 8, plan inspiring holidays first.
This is a radical shift. Most people plan their work first and then hope to squeeze in a holiday somewhere. The successful entrepreneur plans at least 8 weeks of holiday time first. They block it out on a yearly planner from the start.
And this does 3 massive things. First, it lets the brain relax, knowing that downtime is guaranteed, which paradoxically makes you more productive when you are working.
Second, your best ideas for the business, They rarely come when you're stuck in the day-to-day grind. They come when you have distance, usually when you're on holiday.
And third, it creates hard deadlines. You have to move mountains before you go sailing. This forces swift, efficient action in a way that an endless work week never can.
So once that mindset is activated by these actions, we need a structure for building opportunity. Priestley outlines this brilliant four-experiment process he calls CAOS.
CAOS. Concept, audience, offer, and sales.
Exactly.
Let's unpack concept first because it's tied directly to your unique expertise and what he calls your IP.
Right. Your concept and IP must be at the intersection of your personal theme, your core passion, the thing you keep coming back to, and solving a real unmet customer need. You can't just copy another business.
You have to solve a new problem or solve an old one better, cheaper, or with more emotion.
Priestley's own theme is about solving problems through entrepreneurship and these intensely focused campaigns. Your IP, your unique methodology, that's what decommoditizes you. It makes you unique.
And you develop this IP by actively writing about your successful methods, creating your own names for your processes, defining your frameworks in articles, blogs, books.
You're turning the functional knowledge in your head into a tangible, sellable asset that makes you look like an authority.
Okay, next is audience. He says market size is mostly irrelevant. It's the people paying attention that matter.
Absolutely. You have to test audience interest before you build the expensive product.
And the classic example of this is Elon Musk with the Cybertruck.
Perfect example. He didn't build the factory first. He held an event, generated massive excitement, and then let people put down a small, refundable $100 deposit to reserve one.
And over 1 million people did. He proved product market fit and got a ton of interest-free capital without having made a single car. That's testing the audience.
And crucially, you have to understand the harsh reality of conversion rates. You need a big audience because typically only about 1 in 20 people, that's less than 5%, will buy right away, even with a perfect launch.
So if you want 10 sales of your core product, you need an engaged, paying attention audience of over 200 people.
You have to accept that 19 out of 20 people who signal interest won't buy immediately. Success is a numbers game that requires broad attention.
Which brings us to the offer, the brochure. How do we package all this value so the customer can easily say yes?
A true entrepreneur packages components together to solve a customer's problem simply. They create a compelling offer that masks all the complexity underneath.
Like an iPhone, which relies on hundreds of suppliers, or a packaged pizza deal.
Exactly. The customer buys the packaged outcome. They're totally unaware of the complex coordination involved.
Yeah.
So the strategy here is to build the sales materials, the brochure, the detailed landing page before you do anything expensive.
The brochure outlines the problem, your unique IP solution, the benefits, the price.
And if the brochure sells, you build it. If it doesn't, you haven't wasted a massive amount of capital on production.
Okay, finally, let's talk product strategy and long-term value. Priestley says products and services don't make profit, ecosystems do.
This is the core engine of the global small business. The ascending transaction model, or ATM.
The ATM.
The ATM creates a seamless, profitable journey for the client. It's designed to fix the flaws of single-product businesses where high acquisition costs just eat all your margins.
Okay, so the journey starts with gifts.
Yes! These are free, high-value pieces of content research papers, industry analysis, digital downloads that you give away without asking for anything in return. No contact details, no money.
Their purpose is just to entice and delight, to show your credibility.
Exactly. Then you move to products for prospects, PFP. These are low-cost or small commitment offers, a paid trial, a cheap seminar, an automated scorecard quiz.
And the rule here is that they have to deliver a quick win in under 7 days.
A demonstrable piece of progress, yes. And most importantly, they capture the client's contact details to start that commercial relationship. The PFP's job is to cover the cost of acquisition and turn a prospect into a buyer.
Then comes the main event, the core product.
This is your main profitable offering. Usually it generates significant recurring revenue, often over $1,000 per customer per year, and it must be remarkable and decommoditized.
So you can't just sell salt.
No. You sell Himalayan organic mineral rock salt, a unique product with a unique name and promise, so you can't be compared to generic commodities. And the focus here is on implementation, not just ideas. People pay you the big money to do the complex work for them.
And the final, most profitable step.
Products for clients, PFC. These are exclusive, highly profitable products sold only to your existing delighted clients. Things like ongoing maintenance, subscription services. advanced annual retreats.
And because the high cost of acquiring that client is already covered by the core product.
The PFCs have this huge extra layer of profit margin built right in. These transactions can often double the profitability of the entire business without any new marketing spend.
So this whole ecosystem ensures the client journey flows naturally, maximizing lifetime value and profitability without using aggressive reptile brain sales tactics too early. It's the engine of the GSB.
It's the engine.
We've covered mindset and practical strategy, but that long-term, massive, billion-dollar vision kind of success, that requires more than just hard work and belief, doesn't it?
It does. Priestley identifies 3 essential and often overlooked keys to unlocking that level of freedom and scale.
And the first one really challenges that old Protestant work ethic. It's luck.
A lot of people, especially those stuck in that autopilot brain mode, they discount luck entirely. They think sheer effort is enough. But all wildly successful people have been wildly lucky, even if they deny it.
And the good news is, you're already immensely lucky.
Immensely. If you have clean water, access to basic education, and cheap, immediate access to global technology, which describes pretty much everyone listening right now.
Priestley shares this really profound story about this. After visiting a slum school in Mumbai, he went back to his 5-star hotel, and he was suddenly just overwhelmed by the endless, guaranteed supply of clean, drinkable water that was flowing from these decorative fountains.
He realized in that moment that his standard day-to-day life was more technologically and economically extravagant than that of almost any king or emperor in history.
And recognizing that baseline of luck is the first step.
It is. Recognizing and being grateful for your existing luck allows your visionary brain to see future opportunities more clearly. It overcomes the reptile's default fear. And you can cultivate luck actively. By choosing to go to lucky events, talking to inspired people about exciting futures, and aggressively avoiding people who are convinced there are no opportunities left. Every day, you're making choices that either attract or repel that beneficial randomness.
Okay, the second key is reputation. In this new revolution, it's your most prized asset.
What your clients say about you is exponentially more influential than what you say about yourself. The maxim is simple. Get known by the success of your clients. Your reputation isn't built on your awards. It's built on the verifiable outcomes you deliver for others.
And this ties back to the idea of output, not just confidence. People like Spielberg or Oprah, they weren't necessarily the most confident people in the room.
But they were relentlessly prolific. They created massive amounts of output despite any self-doubt or fear they had. Influence flows from that output, not from some external display of confidence.
So if you constantly produce something of verifiable value for your clients, your influence will skyrocket.
You'll become the obvious choice.
And the third key, the rocket fuel, is leverage.
Big success requires your value to multiply across some rare form of leverage. And this means getting access to gated resources that very few people can access.
Things like celebrity endorsements, specific venture capital pipelines, exclusive distribution deals.
Protected trade data. We're not talking about easily accessible leverage like just uploading a video to YouTube. Gated leverage is hard to get. It's protected by gatekeepers. But it unlocks a massive advantage that your competitors just cannot replicate.
And building that exceptional reputation is what qualifies you to get past those gatekeepers.
Exactly. You have to be doing something special and scalable to be ready for that kind of launch. All 3 keys, luck, reputation, and leverage, are all interconnected, and they lead us to this ultimate shift in human value as technology starts to handle all the function and content.
We're seeing this monumental transition. It's often described as moving from the age of hands to the age of heads, and now, with AI, to the age of hearts.
The age of hands was about physical dexterity, toolmaking. It lasted for millennia. Then the Industrial Revolution displaced it. Then came the age of heads, where value was in thinking, in strategy, in information.
The age of lawyers, strategists, data analysts.
But AI, with large language models, has now effectively conquered that domain. It's processed virtually every piece of information ever created. Content itself is now instantly and freely replicable.
So if AI can think, strategize, and write better and faster than most functional workers, where does unique human value even reside anymore?
The next shift has to be to the age of hearts. Value now flows to genuine love, deep passion, authentic connection, and vitality.
Vitality. The idea of being the irreplaceable life force in your domain.
Yes, functionality and information processing will be automated. But vitality, that human life force, It cannot be. You see it in figures like the hairstylist Vidal Sassoon or humanitarian leaders who inspire movements. They are irreplaceable.
So money flows to vital people who build reputation and a unique profile, not to functional people who can easily be replaced by an AI.
The work that remains looks a lot more like play because it involves deep human creativity and connection. And this is an existential choice, driven by what he calls the AI wedge.
The AI was...
AI technology has two superpowers: the power to get us to consume more endless doom-scrolling, hyper-personalized entertainment, or the power to get us to create more. Warp speed content generation, new product development.
And the entrepreneur has to consciously choose creation.
They must. Consuming is a drain on energy and vitality. Creating brings joy, energy, purpose. If you look at the Forbes rich list, almost none of the self-made billionaires are retired. They are still deeply engaged in the joy of creating, not the burden of consuming.
They lean into the challenges, constantly reinventing themselves and creating the future.
Rather than leaning back and trying to consume the past, in the Age of Hearts, you have to truly love what you do. Your team has to love working for you, and your clients have to love buying from you because of the vitality you bring. If that genuine love and vitality is missing from your business, it will not survive the automation onslaught. That is the new game. We've journeyed from escaping that industrial mindset to quieting the scarcity-driven reptile brain and implementing these challenges to force new actions.
And then building the essential ATM product ecosystem for profitability.
We've discovered that massive success requires actively cultivating luck, maximizing reputation through prolific output, and then accessing that gated leverage.
So the final synthesis seems pretty clear. Successful entrepreneurs don't dream of retirement. They pursue meaningful, vital work with open hearts. They're constantly creating and leaning into disruption.
They are not chasing passive income. They are building a vital, active empire that adds systemic value. And this brings us back to that hidden central theme of Priestley's work. It's something he mentioned many times, weaving it right into the fabric of the book, but he left it unnamed.
For the reader to discover on their own?
To discover and integrate.
So, given our whole discussion on the Age of Hearts, on vitality, on loving what you do, this idea that you have to be the irreplaceable life force in your domain, what is that key ingredient? What is it you have to integrate into your business and your life to succeed in this new revolution?
It's not explicitly named, but the clues are all there. Love, passion, joy, vitality, and true compassion for the clients you serve. They're right under your nose. The functional parts of business are easy to replicate. The vital human core is not.
So we'll challenge you. Don't stop looking for it. Go back and review your current path. Are you prioritizing functional labor over vital creation? Are you running on the joy of today, or are you still just waiting for jam tomorrow?
Because you simply cannot build a successful, resilient enterprise without that ingredient, that deep, genuine, radiating life force at the heart of everything you create.
If you start leading with an open heart, embracing your passion, and intentionally creating massive value for others,
the financial and personal rewards will naturally flow. And that is the essence and the highest purpose of the entrepreneur revolution.